All right. Thank you very much. And once again, welcome. My name is Brian Derito. I work here at Assek as the project coordinator and membership support officer. And we are happy that today you're here with us for this session on financial and procurement management system. This is day 2 of the Assek Learning Week 2025. And we are hoping that you'll be able to join us for all the sessions today. We are joined by the very able Peter Osogo, one of the greatest financial consultants we have had, to the pleasure of working with within our network, and he'll be the one who will be taking us through this full session. So just a few housekeeping rules. Number one, make sure that your mic is muted at all times unless you're speaking. If you need to speak, just raise your hand using the raise a hand button, and we'll be able to prompt you to speak. And also requesting you to stay throughout the whole session. This is just the first part of the learning week. We'll have a physical follow-up of these sessions and all other sessions coming up next week. And it will only be fair that you'll have attended the first one so that you will be able to grasp the other things that will be in the follow-up session. The session is 3 hours long, and we'll just have breakout rooms in between for group discussions and everything. Other than that, allow me to welcome Peter Osogo and team to take this over. Peter, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Brian. Please confirm that you can hear me.
Yes.
All right. Share my screen at this time. Just a minute, please. Still trying to get this to operate. Right. So good afternoon, everybody. I'm delighted to welcome you to this deep dive into finance and procurement systems. These are the two pillars that shape the efficiency and profitability of any organization. So over the next 3 hours, we are going to explore the best practices, insights, and frameworks that are designed to help you streamline operations and enhance value across your organizations. So I'd like to appreciate the time that you've set aside for this session, and I'm committed to ensuring that you walk away with practical takeaways that can make an impact in your work. For those of you who still do not know me, my name is Peter Osogo, and I have been in the accounting, finance, and operations space for nearly 2 decades now. And during that time, I have seen firsthand how robust financial and procurement strategies can transform a company's performance. So through this presentation, I aim to share with you real-world perspectives and methods that you can adapt to meet your unique organizational needs. Today's session marks the first phase of a two-part program. I'm going to establish the theoretical foundations in this online session, and this is going to set the stage for a more interactive and face-to-face workshop in a few days from today. At that workshop, you are going to have the opportunity to apply what you learned today in practical scenarios. And I encourage you, please, to stay engaged. I encourage you to take notes, because every piece of insight that we cover here is actually crafted to add genuine value to your enterprise. We started a little bit late, and so I'm not going to go too long with my introduction. So I would like to dive straight into what we have come to do here. So I had some objectives for this workshop, and the objectives are shaped by real-world challenges. That's the entire idea. The challenges that are faced with entrepreneurs throughout the country. So by the end of this session, I hope to develop part of your practical skills in budgeting and cash flow management. I also hope to strengthen your understanding of financial reporting and management accounting. And finally, it would be good if you, from this session, gained a solid foundation on the fundamentals of procurement. It's 3 hours long, and the material is a lot. We may or may not cover all the topics that I have outlined here today, but in the second session, I'm sure we are going to go through the entirety of this, because it's going to be 5 hours long. So just keep in mind that today you're getting the theoretical framework, which is going to be absolutely important for the next session. So before we get into all these topics, I would like to give you a case study that is going to set the tone for the next 3 hours. I obviously need to know exactly where it is you are on these topics, and I want you to be able to reflect even beforehand as I submit for you my material today. So I've been lucky to have an assistant with me, a lady by the name Lucy Wanjiru, and she is going to split you into groups where you are going to tackle a case study for 10 minutes. It's really, really simple, but it is going to jog your memory, and it's going to give you the foundation that you require to consume the material that I'm going to give you hereafter. So after you do your case study, there'll be very brief reflections, just 2-minute presentations, and then I'll get on with it. So Wanjiru, I'm going to stop my share now. And so please take us through what you have for us today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Peter. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, entrepreneurs, business people of the continent. So we're going to start with our first topic, which is going to be budgeting. And I have assigned you into breakout rooms randomly. There has not been any criteria as to why you ended up in a room that is not the other room. We have 4 rooms, and I will open the rooms shortly. But before that, I want you to have a look at the case study that we're going to be looking at. So once I put you in the rooms, you will find this case study in those very breakout rooms as well. And you will be able to discuss. And when you come back, you will have identified who the leader is, and they will give a presentation of 2 minutes, as Peter has alluded to. So here is the case study. Better Logistics is an MSME providing transport services. Recently, their client base grew by 30%, but they've faced challenges managing increased operational costs. So the key details you need is that the monthly revenue is $50,000 US. The operational cost is $40,000 US, which has increased by 15% over 3 months. They do have a loan repayment of $5,000 per month. They have a saving goal, and the saving goal is to expand the vehicle fleet with $50,000 in 2 years. So here are the questions that we want you to reflect. Here are the questions that we want you to reflect upon. What are Better Logistics' main challenges? How can they optimize their budget to manage growth effectively? What steps, therefore, should they take to reach their fleet expansion goal? If profits stabilize, how should they prioritize resource allocation? This is how this is going to work. You do not know which team you're going to go to, so I need you to make this note, that if you find yourself in what we call room 1, the question you'll be tackling is question number 1. If you find yourself in room number 2, the question you'll be tackling is question number 2, 3, and 4, respectively. So now I will briefly stop share. I will open the room, have fun, interact, and we will be back here in 10 minutes. That is at 2:33. Let me open all the rooms, and you should start leaving the main room. Good to see that people are leaving. Let me share the case study so that they find it where they are. So all the members should be able to see the question. And Peter, I have started our timer because they should all have been able to see. I think people still in the main room.
Lucy, there are people who are unassigned.
Yes, I am assigning them in a bit. Unassigned, okay. Assigned.
Winrose is asking to be assigned a room.
So away, Winrose. Goodbye, Winrose. Then room 3. Winrose, you're still in the. Oh, yeah, she's gone.
Winrose
Okay.
is gone. Lucy Wanjuru and Jack Otieno haven't joined yet.
Jack, Lucy Wanjuru is myself.
Yeah.
Let me check, Jack, where to put you. I'll put you in room 3. Okay.
There's Edna Onyach.
Okay. Let me check which room doesn't have too many people. Room 1. So we have room 3 with 6 people, and then the rest with 5 each. And it's good, I can see they're talking to each other. And Peter, if you'd like, you can go into the different, you're able to move into the different rooms.
No. I'm happy just staying out here
Okay.
and letting them enjoy themselves.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah. You didn't tell them about the red card?
For the 10 minutes. Oh yeah, okay.
And then there's Euphrasia Mwanza.
In the main room, I don't see you.
Yeah, she's saying she hasn't been assigned. I saw a pop-up message.
Oh, she has not joined. Her room is room 3. Okay, let me. Do I move her? She's 6. I could move her to room 2. She was assigned. I don't know why she didn't make it into the room, but now hopefully. Antonia. Hi, Antonia. Antonia.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. The rest of the members are in a breakout room case study, so I'm just going to assign you one and then you can catch up with them.
Okay.
Activities. So yeah, and we'll also just make sure we are recording the outputs from the interviews and the focus group discussions. Use note taking. Also make sure we have audio recording, and we'll aim for just to make sure that we are downloading the
So Peter, given they have 4.5 minutes to go.
Yes.
Can I give them 1 more minute, given that we had, they're having to reassign?
I think give them 2 more minutes.
2 more minutes, okay.
Yeah. Mm.
With this particular one, the timer, I'm going to use the timer for the presentation.
Yes, that's fine.
So this one, I'll just, when time is up, I will simply close the rooms and they'll have to come back.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You had said they'll be here at 2:33, but now that's going to be 2:36, right?
Yeah, yes, it should be.
Okay.
Yes. Nothing seems to be happening in room 2. People are not talking.
People are not talking in room 2.
Everybody's muted.
Let's see.
Because at least in, yeah. And how did one end up with so many people?
Sorry?
Okay, yeah. Room 2, I don't know what's happening in room. Then my names disappeared. My good emerald, my gem names.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I'll fix that as you. I'm afraid of changing it now in case it changes something major.
Yeah, I can see room 2, someone talking.
Oh, finally, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Are they able to see? Oh, Not yet.
Yeah. Oh, time is not yet up. Sorry, I did that by mistake.
Yeah. Christine Opwapo, is she entered the room? Okay, admit. Maybe you might want to let Christine know. People are in the group.
Right. Hi, Christine.
Hi,
Welcome.
thank you so much.
You're not lost. We have people in the breakout rooms discussing the case study that's on the screen.
Uh-huh.
So
We have
just assign
about
her group.
2 minutes to go, so I'll just assign you and you pick up wherever they are.
Okay.
Okay.
Josephat also is entering.
Let me go into room 2 and see what's happening. They could have a challenge, perhaps.
Yeah.
Although they only have about 2 minutes to go.
Mm.
Oh,
I think
no. No, I can't move around because it will stop the screen sharing. So I'll just stick
it's
here.
okay. We just ask them. And you need to assign everyone else coming to room 2 because there are only 3 people.
And they're not talking. That's why I'm not assigning anyone there, because I'm wondering, is it that they can't see the screen? What could be the issue?
Okay.
Yeah. But the rest are all talking, so that's good. I think they're ready to come back. What do you think? Do we still need to give them another minute?
1 minute. Just give them one more.
Okay, because my 10 minutes is up.
Because of the person who will be preparing to talk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give them 1 minute.
tunapenda kufanya assignment.
With Rahim.
I'll close the rooms now. Because it's about
Yeah.
5 seconds. Yeah.
That's fine. I think everyone is back now. So Lucy, you can.
Yes, everybody is back. I'm therefore going to invite the members of room 1. Do we have a representative?
Yes.
Diana and Dupo, fantastic. Would you like to take it away? Do you need me to share the screen really to show the case study? It would be nice to see you, Diana.
I'm not in a place you can see me now, but through the presentation, I'll do my best.
Okay, go ahead. You remember your question, right?
Yes, the question we had was we were looking at better logistics main challenges, and we came up with two main challenges. The first one was from our perspective, we think that they grew faster than they had anticipated, and therefore they're really struggling to meet their client needs, which has really increased their cost of production, while still keeping a very stagnant or lower revenue. So now they're really struggling to manage their cost of operation. And again, also looking at what is their loan facility, it means they have really low profitability or they have really less left to work with. So that introduces us to the next challenge they will have is we think that they've set a very unrealistic goal, because when you look at what they currently have right now versus what they are making or their cash flow, then they may not be in a position to achieve that goal. Those were the two things that we identified as their main issues. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Diana, and the entire team from room 1 for those observations. We move swiftly to the members of room number 2. And your question was, how can they then optimize, in having known these challenges, their budget to manage growth effectively? Do we have a representative for members who are in room 2?
Group.
Olympia, take it
Can you
away.
hear me? Can you hear me?
You need to be louder, Olympia.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, much better.
Okay. So based on this, we picked a number of things. Number one.
Olympia, do you think you can speak closer to your mic?
Can you hear me now?
Say that again.
You can't hear me.
If you have earphones, you might want to remove those. Maybe they're interfering.
Oh, okay. Let me disconnect the earphones. And now?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. Of our group, we discussed and realized that yes, the challenges that group one has said, that's what we saw. So how did they optimize?
Olympia, I'm afraid we have to really lean in to hear you. Maybe just move where, if you're using earphones, you want to bring the mouthpiece right to your mouth, or if you're not using one, you want to be louder. Because we hear you, then you fade away, then.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, now if you maintain there, we shall hear everything you say.
Bana nimezima kila kitu.
Good, now we are good, yes, go ahead.
Now, from group 2, actually, whatever group 1 has mentioned is what we agreed, and we saw from the system. Allow me, there are some distraction from behind. But what we came up with is that for this budget to be optimized, number one, we need to go to that operational cost and come and pluck it out and see what can be fixed, what can be direct. And then those direct costs, we need now to be in control of them and allocate those costs based on revenue drivers. That's number one. And then number two, still that budget, we need to adopt a zero budget approach where we need to spend as long as there's return on investment. And then number three, also, we need to see, because for growth, we need funds, and so that we can invest in capacity in terms of delivery, in terms of the vehicle. So we need to see how can we invest in increasing that amount of revenue, because the client base has come. So we'll also come and see how is our costing, how is our pricing strategy. So that if there's an issue with the pricing, that we need to work on it to increase the revenue so that we can be able to cover our fixed direct costs and also pay the loan, so that we can have that reserve for expansion will still take place. Yes. So maybe, Elizabeth, have I left something out? I had a very serious team, actually. Yeah, I think I'll leave it there.
Fantastic. Thank you, Olympia, with your second question. Let's move to room 3. Do we have a representative from room 3?
I think let me volunteer. You can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes,
and your question was, what steps should they take to reach their fleet expansion goal? Please go ahead.
I think what came to my mind, or to our minds, was basically what Olympia has also talked about, because we looked at the costs. And if we are seeing that as the business activity increases and costs are increasing exponentially like that, then the best thing to do is to look at the cost structure of that business and see what can be fixed. So we fixed some of those costs, and that means that we are then able to reduce the component of the variable costs, which means that that would enhance achievement of a break-even point, if at all the business was chasing that. So that is what we thought also. Basically restructure the costs, fix some of them, and reduce the variable cost component.
Fantastic, Jack. Well agreed. Room number 4. Do we have a representative from room number 4?
Yes, how are you? Hi, Wanjiro. I'm Paul. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Tell us about what discussion you had around the stabilizing of the profits.
Okay, so our group, we were looking at this profit stabilization or the profit stability. So if that milestone were to be reached, then how was the company going to go about prioritizing its resource allocation? So we said, based on that, of course, in order for them even to, aim for, a bigger growth potential in the future, then they would have to first and foremost make sure that they took care of their most immediate and, urgent needs, which was the loan repayment. So loan repayment would take up like, priority number 1. And at the same time, we saw that there was a need for them to look for ways to decrease the operational cost, because in the brackets there, it was mentioned that the operational cost had incremented by like 15% over the course of 3 months. So if they could find some inexpensive ways to reduce that, then that would also go a long way to helping them save some money, which they could then allocate differently. The last one we saw was to try and maybe probably come down on the savings goal, because we thought that was too, way ambitious for them to reach, especially if it was be pegged on the operational cost valuation there. So if maybe they could probably like reduce that by maybe a percentage of like 10 or whatever, percentage that they felt was, necessary for them, in order for them to have like, a much more assured pathway to realizing the same goal. Thank you.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you all. Thank you, Paul, and thanks to all the other respondents. Thank you for keeping it below 2 minutes. Fantastic. You're clearly all entrepreneurs because all your points are absolutely valid. So as I hand this over back to Peter, kindly note that there is an exam coming at the end of this session. All right, so we're going to play a lovely game at the end of the session, but let's now hand it back to Peter for a reflection on what we have just discussed. Thank you all and enjoy the session. Over to you, Peter.
1 second. So thank you very much, all of you, for your presentations. It is clear that you all have a general understanding of what budgeting is. But what I want to do now is to explore it a little bit deeper. The case study, I drew it from the material that I'm going to be presenting to you in the next 35 minutes. So what I want you to do is to reflect upon your questions as I go through this particular presentation so that you see how far off you are from the mark or how close you are to giving us the correct answers on this. But I also have to mention there are no correct answers, absolute correct answers, because every situation and every organization operates in an environment differently. So the first thing I have for you that I need you to get to understand is what is budgeting. So from a technical perspective, it is the strategic process of planning and allocating financial resources to meet specific goals within a defined time frame. But beyond the technical definition, budgeting offers much, much more than just its numbers. And that is what your presentations have shown. It provides a roadmap for envisioning your business's future. It provides a roadmap for setting priorities and ensures that you have the resources to achieve those priorities. This clarity will not only guide your day-to-day decisions, but it will also help you to track progress. And for senior management, you actually get empowered to anticipate challenges and to maintain control over the organization's financial destiny. So your perspective about budgeting really matters. And I'm very encouraged with the case studies and your presentations on the same. Because if you are only to focus on the numbers, you would have missed the entire point. And that's not what you did. So the question then becomes, why budget? That's the question. You have budgets because you want to plan your finances. You want to plan the timing of money that comes in and the timing that money that goes out if you're selling on credit. And this you're doing because you want to pay your liabilities as they fall due. You're planning through a budget because you want to allocate your resources efficiently. As management, you have to decide the best use of your limited resources. So for instance, if you have surplus income, what do you do with it? And you need to do this based on your company's missions and goals. Why else then do you want to have a budget? Because you need to track your expenses. And when you track your expenses, you're looking to spot areas where you are overspending, and you need to do this quickly. And to understand why overspending is coming through with a view of taking corrective action. And the last one on your screen, the budget is there because of performance evaluation. You have to continuously compare actual performance against targets and make adjustments as needed so that you can be able to stay on track to achieve your mission and vision. So in a nutshell, that is why we go into budgeting. A lot of people will then ask, is a budget only one type of budget? Or how do we move forward when it comes to budgets? I'd have you know that we have more than one budget. The types of budgets that we have are 4. These are the main ones. Of course, there are others, but these are the main ones. I've tried to make it as simple as possible. And the first one that we have here is our operational budget. Do not forget there'll be a quiz after this, so it would be of value if you took notes or if you concentrated as much as you can. So on operational budgets, these are budgets that provide the foundation for consistent performance. So if you're looking to sustain your daily operations, an operational budget is what is the best fit. Now, there are organizations that have gone beyond operational budgets, and they are no longer struggling to generate revenue, and they're not struggling to control costs. These organizations are basically looking to expand their operations. As a consequence, a different budget is required. And this is what we are calling the capital budget. Capital budgets lay the groundwork for future growth, and they're used more for capital assets, for instance, land, for instance, buildings, and for instance, investments, things which you find on your balance sheet, and we'll talk about that later on. And we do also have project-specific budgets, which are designed exclusively for defined projects or defined initiatives. So for instance, if the company wants to undertake a new marketing campaign in the next 3 months, they can use project-specific budgets for that particular activity or initiative. And finally, we do have the integrated budget. And this is a comprehensive financial plan that integrates all the 3 budgets. And you're doing this because you want to ensure that all aspects of your business are working together to achieve both short-term and long-term goals. So as your business moves towards its life cycle, eventually you end up at a point where you are doing integrated budgets. But when you are starting off, you're saying, what is the immediate thing that we want to do right now? And that is why operational budgets then become important for people who are just starting out. That's where then your focus might be. So that's all about the types of budgets. And so we need to move in from types of budgets and move into something similar but different, and that is the methods of budgeting. We've got 4 of those, and I'm going to go through each one after the other. So the first budget that I want to go through, I've put an example there, is incremental budgeting. Incremental budgeting is where the upcoming budget is prepared by taking the current budget as a baseline and making incremental adjustments. These adjustments typically account for changes in inflation or changes in new projects or shifts in priorities of your organization. The method is straightforward and it has a major assumption. It assumes that all past expenditures were necessary. So one thing we have to keep in mind is that it can lead to inefficiencies because it doesn't critically assess whether all current expenses are justified or if better alternatives exist. So based on my experience, most companies operate using incremental budgets. And there was a huge debate many years ago with accounting professionals. Some of them felt that budgeting was just a tick box exercise. And it was mostly because they felt that incremental budgeting was not, it was not adding value to the organization. And it's a debate that eventually was sorted out much later. And as we move on, you're going to see why it happened that way. So we move to the second method of budgeting. As you can see it there laid out in a couple of columns, is the activity-based budgeting. This method identifies specific activities that drive your operations and allocates costs based on their contribution to your goals. So as an organization, by focusing on what matters most, whether it is production, customer acquisition, or innovation, you eliminate unnecessary expenditures and you optimize your resource allocation. So activity-based budgeting not only enhances transparency, but it also ensures that every shilling you use delivers maximum impact by aligning it with your financial plans and strategic objectives. The next budget is the zero-based budget. Unlike traditional budgeting, which obviously builds up on past budgets, this approach requires you to justify every expense for the budgeting period. Yeah, you have to justify every single expense for the upcoming period. It ensures that resources are allocated based on current needs and strategic priorities rather than historical patterns. One of you talked about zero-based budgeting. I was quite happy about that. And it is clear that you understand this is one of the methods that are most effective for organizations. So zero-based budgeting promotes efficiency, it eliminates waste, and it encourages innovative thinking by challenging assumptions. The method is transformative for businesses that seek to realign spending with goals and maximize value creation. So the main thing is you always must challenge your assumptions. And if you're using this method, each year you are going to start from zero. The next method for budgeting, and it is the last method that we're going to talk about today, it's value proposition budgeting. Value-based budgeting is very similar to zero-based budgeting, but there are two small differences. And the differences lie in the focus and the approach to justifying those expenses, as you can see on the table that I've presented there. So whereas zero-based budgets start from zero, clean slate, and the person has to justify every expense as if it was a new expense, value-based budgeting evaluates whether each expense delivers value for the organization and its stakeholders. Its focus is on aligning spending with the company's value proposition. So in a nutshell, ZBB analyzes activities afresh, while VBB focuses on the value that each expense adds. So whichever method that you use, you could even decide to combine, my favorite is zero-based budgeting combined with incremental budgeting. Whichever method that you use, it is good you understand which method best works for your organization. Next, I need to get into what effective budgeting reveals, because you do not just budget for the sake of budgeting. So we've covered topics on what budgeting is. We've covered why budgeting is important and the different types of budgeting that we have. Now, let us focus on what budgeting reveals. And this is super important for people who are owners, because you've got accountants who are reporting to you and they're giving you budgets. But are they giving you insights then that are making sense to allow you to make decisions? So in order to appreciate budgeting more, we have to look on whether there's a proper analysis, because money is often wasted on hidden costs, such as impulse buying or untracked expenses and non-essential spending, which gradually will reduce your profitability. So for instance, you may subscribe to a software service that eventually becomes unnecessary over time. But automatic payments continue because of lack of oversight. So if you implement zero-based budgeting or perhaps value-based budgeting, it will help you to identify and to eliminate such unnecessary costs. And then it ensures that every single expense adds value. So there's nothing more disconcerting to an entrepreneur than an unpredictable and erratic cash flow. One month, your organization is flush with cash, and the next, you are struggling to make payroll. I think this is something most entrepreneurs undergo in the early years of their businesses. So analyzing budgets properly helps the entrepreneur or helps the senior management to recognize patterns in cash flow, whether you have seasonal dips or whether it is just irregular client payments. So once the analysis is done, it is easy to reveal the problem, and it is easy then to make contingency plans, whatever those plans might be. Effective budgeting will reveal gaps between your current practices and your optimal needs by highlighting issues such as inconsistent tracking, reliance on guesswork, and difficulty in aligning spending priorities. So your spending with the priorities that the organization has. So it requires first an understanding of your current state and then envisioning where you want to be. You then allocate resources purposefully, aligning them with your strategic goals. Now, closing this gap is a gradual process, and it involves implementing small, actionable changes. For instance, you can update your tools. You can improve your templates. You can conduct regular reviews to create a budgeting process that then drives success. So that is what budgeting reveals. By no means is that conclusive, but the idea is for you to get the general picture that there are revelations and there are insights that you have to get when you are executing your budgets. Next is about budgeting for uncertainties. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of something called scenario planning, goes without saying. And scenario planning occurs because business environments in nature are capricious. That means they are ever changing. So sometimes situations in the market change without warning. COVID, for instance. And as a consequence, in order to survive unexpected changes, many organizations use scenario planning. So they end up doing budgets that show the best case scenario. They end up doing budgets that also show the expected case scenario and budgets that show the worst case scenario. That is what scenario planning is all about. So to do this, senior management needs to have a deep understanding of how markets work. You can't just do scenario planning off the top of your head like guesswork. You must have a deep understanding of how your markets work. So this way, you are able to infuse assumptions in income and infuse assumptions in expenditure lines and craft strategies to mitigate risks or take advantage of positive swings when the business environment allows it. So use scenario planning to navigate uncertainties and, most importantly, to maintain control in unpredictable environments. So what's the idea? The idea is that budgeting is a strategic tool. And I hope that you have been following right from the beginning, because as we come to the end of this budgeting section, the point is that budgeting is not a mere administrative exercise. It is a strategic tool that underpins sustainability and fuels growth. So businesses that embrace budgeting as a priority rather than as an afterthought positions themselves to weather challenges, capitalize on opportunities, and achieve long-term success. So that brings us to the end of this particular section, the section on budgeting, and it brings us to the beginning of a quiz session. So I hope you've been concentrating. I hope you've been writing down your notes because we're going to do a very, very short quiz, perhaps about 12 questions. And so I'll hand you over to my trusted assistant to help us through with this. So Lucy, you're going to give us the instructions of the quiz segment, and then I'll pick over from there after the second case study. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Can I see some emojis flying with a round of applause for how much Peter has enlightened us on budgeting? And it is now, thank you, Winrose. It's now time to really put ourselves to the test. I see you, Esther and Olympia. So we're going to play a game. We're going to go back to the teams that we had, the room 1, room 2. We have upgraded ourselves. Now we have names. Room 1, because you're all such beautiful gems, I have named you Emerald. Yeah, Emerald. It's a gemstone. And then room 2, you will be Paul, moving forward, not just room 2. Yeah. Room 3, you'll be Ruby. Your team Ruby, and room 4, you are Sapphire. So here's what we're going to do so that we can understand what to do when we get into our breakout rooms. I'm going to require us to play a test game. So let's do a test run so that we all understand what is expected. And then when we move into the breakout rooms, I will explain to you what is going to happen. Okay? Are we ready? I will need you to have a second device for this one. If you're using a laptop, then you can use your phone, or if you're using something else, you can use a different device, because it's a quiz where the question will show on the screen you're using now, and you need the second device to give your answer. Why we are doing this in teams is also so that in case you're using your phone and you're in a place where you only have one gadget, then you're not disadvantaged. There's going to be somebody in the team who has at least 2 gadgets. Once we go into the rooms, only one of you will give the answer, while the rest of you will help to come up with which is the correct answer. Most questions have multiple choices, A to D, and you just pick which one is the correct one. In addition to the correctness of the answer, we're also looking at speed. If you all get all the questions right, and I can promise you the questions are not hard, we're also going to be looking at which team was able to then give the correct answer the fastest. All right? So let me share my screen. This first round, we are all going to play and participate. And then the main round, when we go into the breakout rooms, we pick one person to be our rep, and we will see which team wins. Are we ready? All right. So somebody tell me, I see it, if you can see my screen. Nobody can see my screen?
I can see your screen.
Fantastic. So what are we going to do? I'm going to need you to, on your second device, go to your browser and type in joinmyquiz.com, this one here. Joinmyquiz.com. If you prefer to use the very gadget that you're using, then I could put this on top. That is going to be the code that we're going to use. Once you get to joinmyquiz.com, enter the game code. Once you get there, it will ask you for the game code. And the game code is 065457. LM is in, that's how I know who's in. I can see the people are coming in. Yes, Chakava is in. LM is in. The rest of us, there's 25 of us at least. I hope to get at least 10. This is a test run quiz. General knowledge, nothing to do with quizzing, very simple questions, 3 simple questions just for us to interact with the interface and to know what is expected of us when we get into the breakout rooms. I see you, Mwanza, Maureen, Christine, Sophia, Diana, Esther, Grace, fantastic. One more and we can go. That will get us to 10. Yes. 0654. I like the choice of name that you have picked there, all right? And Asha and the rest of you are still coming in. So as you come in the interest of time, because this is a test run, then we move into the breakout rooms and play together. So I'm going to start. And the question will pop both on this screen as well as on the device you have logged in with. And our first question is true or false? Cotton candy was invented by a dentist. You have 30 seconds to tell me if this is true or false. Don't overthink it. It's a wild guess. It's not an exam. I see almost 6, 7 responses in. Will you be caught by time? 30 seconds is a long time to say yes or no. And 2 minutes have been caught on time. Our time is up. Fantastic. We move on to our second question, then we'll get to know who won. Which animal is on a Kenyan 5-shilling coin? Which animal is on a Kenyan 5-shilling coin? Is it the giraffe, the lion, the rhino, or the elephant? Do you know? Take a one guess. I know you're entrepreneurs. You only deal with 5 shillings in the month, not quite the day-to-day life. You have 30 seconds to make a wild guess. Fantastic. I think we got a hang of it. Right, so let's move on to the next question. Which country has the most women in parliament? You should be seeing the options that we have there. Is it Cuba? Is it Denmark? Is it Rwanda? Where is it that has the most women in parliament? And you have 15 seconds to go. Take a wild guess. Only 10 answers in out of 18, and you are time is up. All right, our very last question for this test round. Oh, was that our last question? Yeah. What is the chemical symbol for water? This is an easy one. We all know what is the chemical symbol of water. So you still we know the answers, but it's a question of speed. If you clap on one, you redeem yourself on the next. 16 out of 18 responses. And your time is up, and it is indeed H2O. So let's see who won this particular round. And in third place we have Felista, second place we have Elem, and in first place we have A. Fantastic. All right. So I think we've gotten a hang of it. So what we're going to do, I'm going to open the breakout rooms. You have 1 minute, the minute you get it, to decide who is going to give the answers. You will all be able to see the question and participate to get the correct answer. It's about accuracy in answer and speed. So we have 4 teams. I will therefore on my dashboard be expecting 4 names. And when I see the 4 names, whatever it is that you will name yourself, you don't have to name yourself Emerald, Pearl, and all those. Any name you choose as a team. As soon as I see the 4 names, I will start the quiz and all of you will see the questions at the same time. I hope we're clear. Any questions? Brilliant. Okay, in just a few minutes, you will all be thrown out from the main session into your breakout rooms. All the best, participants. Unassigned. Now we have a few people who just joined, so I'm just going to assign them.
Yeah.
I'll start with Tracy. Assign you to Sapphire has 4 people. Simeon. Assign you to Paul. Paul, Mbethe, welcome. I hope you got the instructions of the game we're about to play. To Ruby and then Lena. Assigned to where? To Sapphire? To Paul. Okay. Anybody who's not assigned? I don't think so. So I can start.
I can see 4 people not assigned.
4 people.
Mm.
Who are the 4? Who are the 4? On my side, everybody's assigned. Could it be that they have not
There are
moved
3
yet?
now. So that's
What?
you, I,
We are the
and
hosts.
one
So
more
it's
person.
you, me, and Brian. I think Brian is in the
Okay.
room, so that's fine.
All
Let
right.
me share the screen for everybody to see. Hold on. Biz budget, yes. And then share screen. Share. Let me know if you can see my screen.
I can see your screen.
Fantastic. So now we wait for their 4 names to come in here, and I'll know we are ready to begin.
Mm.
Oh, hold on. Did I share to the breakout groups? Let me stop share. I'm not sure if I chose that. Share to breakout rooms and share the sound. Okay, yeah. Yeah, yes. Now I'm sure they can all see.
Okay.
So this will be 10 minutes from the time we begin.
Yes.
That's my timer.
Quick question.
Yeah.
If I share again, it's showing me to the main presentation and then the presenter view. Do I click on the presenter view or the main presentation again?
Presenter view. When you're presenting again?
Yeah, when I'm logging in again, do I just go to the window that's showing me presenter view, or do I have to log in again onto the?
No, I don't think you have to log in again. You'll go to presenter view.
I just go to presenter view, eh?
Yeah, why are they not putting in their names?
Are they
Okay,
not?
we have Maureen. We have 1 person in. We have Felista. It's 2 people in.
We need 4, right?
We need 4. So they can also see this, so they're able to know that we're waiting.
Mm. Can you tell which group doesn't have a representative?
I can't tell unless I go into the groups.
Okay.
Breakout room. Why are 2 groups taking so long? Okay, so there we have 3 emerald.
Yeah.
1 more man.
Okay, there are 4.
So we start. Okay. Time is up. Question.
And then don't forget, immediately after this, you're giving them again the
Not
case
to
study.
forget to do what?
Immediately after this one, you'll give them the case study.
Oh, immediately after. Okay. So let me pull that out. Okay. Why are there 7 people in the room?
Wow. Pearl is not joking.
And the last question.
Yeah. Are we not done?
Yeah, we are done. Let me bring them back.
Okay.
Close all the rooms, then we can see the results together.
Yeah.
How was that? Any reactions?
Reactions, tafadhali.
You may unmute and speak.
Noma sana.
Quick, easy questions. Let's see who our winners are. Are we all back? Let me see how many people we have in the room. 25 should be everybody. Okay. Yes, we want to end the quiz.
Team Pal, Team Pal.
Maureen in third place, Pearl in second place, and
Pearl.
first place. All right, congratulations. You are all budget proficient. You can all make budgets and make serious decisions for your businesses. Can we get a few reactions as we prepare for the second session that is coming in fast and furious? That is the cash flow. We are about to move to cash flow. We've done budgets. You know what budgets are now, but let's move on to cash flow. All right. So straight from that into our next case study, we're moving to the topic on cash flows. And I'm about to share case study, then put you back in the same rooms. And by now you understand the drift, right? You have 10 minutes to discuss that. This time I'll give you 8 minutes because we are trying to save on time. 8 minutes to discuss cash flows, come back and give us a report. This time you answer all the questions that are being presented on the cash flow. Somebody let me know if you can see my screen.
I can see your screen.
Beautiful. So we have our case study on cash flow. Mary owns a small retail store in a bustling city. Over the last 6 months, she noticed a consistent struggle to pay suppliers on time, even though sales have been relatively stable. After reviewing her financial records, she identified the following challenges. Customers often delay payments for bulk orders. Suppliers demand payment upfront. A recent bulk purchase of inventory reduced her cash reserve. Operational expenses such as rent, utilities, and employee wages have risen by 10%. This is what we want to hear from you. Identify the key issues. What cash flow problems can you pinpoint in Mary's business? Purpose Solutions suggest actionable strategies that Mary can adopt to improve her cash flow. Finally, risk assessment. What risks might Mary face if these issues persist? Each of you will have 2 minutes to present on these 3 areas, all right? So without wasting much time, right back into your breakout rooms and enjoy the conversation. 8 minutes, good people, 8 minutes.
Stephanie Nguku has not been allocated.
Let me first share the case study to everybody, then I will come back and allocate.
Okay.
Stephanie Nguku. Hi, Stephanie. I think you joined when we were quizzing. Stephanie, are you there?
Yes, I am. I came in late.
Okay, not to worry. So I'm going to send you into the team Sapphire where you will discuss this case study.
Okay.
All right, enjoy. Okay, I hope that was a smooth transition.
Yeah.
I've already started the timer. They have 7 minutes.
When I get in, I'm going to share the screen, and then you let me know if it is on the normal view or presenter view.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll just ask you if you can see my screen. Then you say normal view.
Okay. Okay. Brian, do you want to be in a discussion? I think you have the ability to move wherever, in whichever team
I
you
am
want
just
to
happy where I am.
be.
And don't forget, when we finish, after we log off,
Yeah.
I'll be calling to ask you questions. So I hope you also
Me asking,
Yeah,
calling to ask me. Okay.
Yes, you.
All right, that's fine.
So far, what's your feeling with the delivery?
I think it's good. I like the variety. It's just that we were very scared about this being such a technical topic, and then you just talk. That's why we thought of the case study and the quiz, and I think the uptake is good. And these ones are tech savvy. They're doing things quite fast. I'm happy. So
I can tell you that
yeah.
delivering on a financial one is not the easiest thing.
Yeah.
Because not many people like numbers and this area. So you need to try and recraft it in a way that makes sense.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I hope that's how you feel about this particular.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. So Pete, you're doing a great job.
Sorry?
You're doing a great job.
Yeah. Mm.
So far, so good.
At one point, I could see your internet fluctuating.
Oh, did it?
And also mine at one point started fluctuating, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
We have Grace. Hi, Grace. Grace, are you there? She's dropped off. Okay, maybe she came and thought the session is over or something because there are only 3 people. Brian,
Yes.
so far so good. How are you finding the session so far? Have you too much?
Yeah, so far so good. I see our numbers are holding. We're doing well.
Okay, and of course, as a host, you know, you have the freedom to go into whichever room you'd like to go to.
Indeed, indeed.
Yeah.
And Brian, I'll be asking you questions after we log off. So make sure you understand everything.
Of course, not budgeting. I'm trying to budget for the physical session on next week.
Sorry?
I'm trying to budget for. I'm actually doing this practically, trying to budget for the sessions next week. So
Oh, yeah,
please
yeah,
don't
yeah.
ask me the theory part.
So you've loved it, eh?
Yeah, so tungoje practical. Ukiniuliza practical nitakuchorea.
Sorry?
Tungoje practical
Yes.
nitakuchorea.
Yes.
But so far so good.
Yeah. What's the main thing you picked out, Brian?
I think for me, the most important thing, or rather what I really wanted to understand, was especially when it comes to value proposition budgeting. That is
Yes.
what I actually picked up in terms of how do you really ensure that even when you are doing when you're budgeting for value proposition, you don't overdo it, but you also don't decrease your value yourself. That something that is acceptable for both the person you are doing the value proposition for, but also yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's good. That's very good feedback, because then it means that when you're doing a practical session, I may want to concentrate on that, if that is the main thing that you actually picked out.
Yeah, that was for me. I think even when you're doing like the feedback session, when you're doing like the feedback form, we'll get to ask them which part they think you should focus more in the practical session.
Yes. I think that would be of value.
Yeah. Oh.
That would be of a lot of value. Oh, my internet is unstable. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you. And they just have 1 minute, so I want to close their rooms. Peter, are you going to be taking some of the questions from the audience? Because so far we have not listened to, we've not had them.
Unfortunately, because of the time constraint, it's going to be absolutely impossible.
Okay.
Yeah, so what I expect is we're going to have a lot of questions during the practical session. And that's where then we are going to field everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, 40 seconds to go. Welcome back. I apologize. I know I did cut some of you out, but welcome back. All right, let's go straight into it. And this time we'll start from what would have been room 4, that is Sapphire. Do we have a representative from Sapphire to share their findings?
Yeah.
Christine Opoapo, fantastic. Please go ahead and tell us what the team deliberated on. You have 2 minutes.
Pardon?
You have 2 minutes and I'm timing.
Okay. What we have found out as a key issue in Mary's business is she's having a poor credit management system, since she's giving a lot of goods upfront without requiring cash, so she's getting less money to run the business. Also, yeah, that's the main key issue that we have found out. A solution to that will be to implement like payment policies whereby she can request for a certain amount of money to be paid when she's crediting her goods, like maybe 50%. And yeah, that's what we had done, and then we got cut off. We had an internet.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Christine. You didn't get to the risk assessment. I'm sorry. Is that my fault? Okay. Let me hope the next team got to the risk assessment. Ruby, are you ready to share your findings? What is the challenge? What solutions would you recommend? And what are the risk assessments that you made? Ruby, room 3. This would be room 3. My name is Ruby. Do we have no one from Ruby? We had in that room Asha Karaoke, Leah, Gloria, Maureen, Moses. One of you can perhaps share? Or do I come back to you? Okay, so can we hear from Paul? Room 2, Paul?
Yes, we can go.
Okay, go ahead, Olympia.
So what we saw out from this business, number one, is poor credit management, both from the suppliers and customers. And number two, the client or the business person also has poor stock management and also poor budgeting skills. Yes, and then the solution to this for the credit management, for the customers, she can introduce that aspect of, if you pay 30 days, we give you this discount. If you pay 30 until, to make sure that it's kind of it's a motivation so that the customers can pay early. For the creditors, she can introduce policies that we can also pay on credit, 90, 30, 40 days, something like that. And then also for the stock, she can manage the just-in-time strategy so that stocks don't become obsolete in the stock in the store. So the risks that she might be exposed to if she doesn't implement this, number one, the stocks will get obsolete in the store. Number two, she might be kind of exposed to auctioneering if she doesn't settle the bills of the suppliers. And then number three, the business will close if she doesn't manage collection of the sales to make sure that she funds all the business activities. Thanks.
Fantastic, and you're just made it to your 2 minutes. Fantastic. Thank you, Olympia, in room 2. That was Paul. Emerald, room 1. Are you ready? We have someone from Emerald. That was room 1. That had Diana, Edna, Jesse, and Paul.
If they're not ready, I think we'd rather move on this time. We need to manage the time.
All right, then. Thank you for your feedback. And I will hand this back to Peter. Over to you.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, but you need to get into the presenter view because we see the entire screen.
Let me see. Just a minute.
No, it's fine. You just need to get to the relevant slide. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you very much, all of you, for going through that particular process. The idea is just to prick your mind so that you can be able to have an appreciation of how important these tools are. So from where I stand, I feel you have got the requisite insights for this kind of exercise, but I want to go much deeper into this so that we can have more information that will prepare us for the practical session in a few days' time. So I want to talk about one of the most important economic variables that can either propel or sink a company, and this is cash flow. So please take a moment and read what's on the slide, and then post for me in the comment section which one resonates with you most. You can only pick one. Just go through them. I give you 15 seconds, and you can only pick one. You can post in the comment section. Lucy, can you see any in the comment section? Hello, Lucy.
Cash, yes, they are coming in. Cash in hand is the fuel that powers innovation and opportunity. Profit shows success, but cash flow shows survival.
All right, I think that's enough. So we move ahead. So the big question is, what is cash flow? So in simple terms, cash flow is the movement of cash in and out of your business. Now, a lot of people confuse cash flow with revenue, and these are not the same thing. Cash flow is movement of money in and out, while revenue is income earned whether you have received payment for it or not. So take an example of a vehicle. The bigger the engine of the car, the more powerful the vehicle is. However, the vehicle cannot move if it has no fuel. The engine is what represents profits, and the fuel represents the cash flow. So money inflows that flow into the organization are from sales like customer payments, which are sold on credit, or investment flows. These flows keep the operations running, and it also fuels the growth of the organization. Now, on the other hand, outflows are money that leaves your business, including expenses like rent, salaries, raw materials, as well as repayment of loans. So in a nutshell, that is what cash flow is. So what is the goal? What is the goal of effective cash flow management? The goal is to ensure that inflows consistently exceed the outflows. This then is going to provide your organization the liquidity needed to cover expenses, the liquidity needed to seize opportunities, and to maintain long-term financial health. So a positive cash flow isn't just a sign of stability. It is the foundation for sustainable success. Now, beyond daily operations, cash flow will provide you financial stability, and this will enable you to invest in growth opportunities, manage unexpected expenses, and build resilience against market fluctuations. A healthy cash flow isn't just about survival, it's about creating a strong foundation for sustainable success, giving your business the agility to adapt, the ability to thrive, and also the ability to grow. Now, for your comprehensive understanding of how money moves in through your business and out, accountants follow a certain convention. And this convention segregates cash flows into 3 different categories. And this is done so as to help management make smarter decisions for stability and for growth. So please pay attention, because we are going to have a quiz at the end of this. And just to emphasize, accountants have a convention, and this convention is to separate it into 3 so that management can make smarter decisions for stability. What I'm going to do is to go into detail for the 3 so that you can get a better understanding on what this is. So the first one is operating cash flows, and this reflects the money generated from your business's core activities. If you look at the screen, you're going to see a representation of what your business's core activities is, such as the cash that you receive from customers, the cash that you pay to suppliers, and your day-to-day operations. Your operating cash flow statement highlights whether your business can sustain itself through its regular activities without relying on external funding. And so if your operations are generating enough funds to run your businesses, you're in a good place. If not, then you have to rely on external funding, which becomes a problem. So if you find that you're continually relying on external funding to operate your business, it means that there is something fundamentally wrong. And what is wrong is with your business operations. Now, this is why it is very important to isolate the operation cash flows for analysis. And the idea is to figure out where this problem might be. Next is on investing cash flows. Investing cash flows involves movements related to long-term investments. Long-term investments such as proceeds from the sale of equipment, proceeds from the sale of investments, purchasing investments, and generally acquiring property. So while investment outflows may reduce your cash in the short term, they are vital for driving growth and future profitability. So top management have to make decisions regarding long-term profitability and growth. And without analyzing investment cash flows, it is not possible to make informed decisions. And this is why segregating cash flows in this manner makes sense. Then we move on to financing cash flows. And these include cash transactions that are tied to funding your business, as we said. So for example, loans, for example, issuing equity or repaying debt. So it demonstrates how the funding you receive supports or impacts your cash position. The management has got to be aware of how external funding shall in future affect the cash position of the organization. So by monitoring these 3 types of cash flows, you gain a comprehensive understanding of how money moves through your business, and it enables you to make smarter decisions, both for stability and also for growth. Now, how do you assess cash flow health? You assess it by tracking the cash flow. You assess it by identifying cash flow patterns. You assess it by analyzing cash flow statements. And I would like to go a little bit deeper into that. And the thing that we will talk about next is on the tracking the cash flow. So how do you track your cash flow? You track your cash flow through bank reconciliations. You track your cash flow using accounting software. You're using bank reconciliations because you want to follow every single shilling to the penny. And you're using accounting software because it is just much more efficient and it gives you insights. The idea is to maintain control over your business's liquidity. If you do not have control on this, and other organizations do, then you lose out the competitive edge in the marketplace. Next, it is important to learn about your business cash flow patterns, as these are going to reveal how best your company resources can be deployed. The patterns may seem obvious to some executives, and these are the executives that put in time to understand the numbers, but it may not be so obvious to those who do not put in the time. So as a consequence, those who do not will lose out in the marketplace. It goes without saying. And some of these patterns include seasonal trends. So for example, retail businesses that experience increased inflows during Christmas or whichever holiday season, Easter or whatever. And agricultural businesses may see peaks immediately after harvest. Right now we are having mango season. So that's a period when people want to eat the fruit of the season and demand actually goes up. So you need to understand these cycles to enable you to prepare for periods of high demand by allocating resources effectively and building reserves for the slower months. We also have recurring shortfalls. That's a pattern. And this pattern will reveal underlying inefficiencies, like for instance, delayed receivables, or for instance, misaligned expense timings. So identifying and addressing these shortfalls allows you to implement strategies like adjusting payment terms or optimizing costs to maintain a steady cash flow. In a nutshell, identifying cash flow patterns transforms raw data into actionable insights, and this empowers you to make informed decisions and to maintain financial stability throughout your business. And so the question comes, how do you assess cash flow health? How do you do that? So the third and final way in which you can assess the cash flow health is to analyze those cash flow statements that you have been generating weekly or monthly. So as we had discussed earlier, when tackling types of cash flows, analyzing cash flows falls into three categories. And that is operating cash flows, investing cash flows, and financing cash flows. So I think we had already discussed this in detail a few minutes ago. So I won't go into all this, but I have this to say. As you're analyzing the cash flow statements, you have to look for red flags and trends. That's what you're looking for. Red flags and trends, such as persistent negative operating cash flows or irregular spikes in expenses. And similarly, you need to track trends over time, like improving cash reserves or growing investment outflows. And this can indicate strategic progress. Recognizing these patterns is going to help you to take timely and corrective actions and to capitalize on positive momentum. Most importantly, as you are analyzing cash flow statements, connect cash flows to business decisions. Basically, simplify interpretation by linking cash flow metrics to actionable decisions. And an example would suffice here. So if you have surplus operating cash flow, invest the same, say, in marketing or invest the same in inventory. And in the event that you have a deficit, this might signal that you need to cut costs. It might signal that you need to renegotiate payment terms. And by aligning these cash flow insights with your strategic goals, you turn analysis into a powerful tool for driving business growth and for driving sustainability. So it is important for entrepreneurs to build cash flow focus because cash flow forecasts act as a roadmap guiding the entrepreneur to anticipate challenges, to seize opportunities, and to keep the business financially stable and resilient. I think that's what all entrepreneurs desire. And this tool is what is going to help you achieve that. To build cash flow forecasts, you have to begin by setting revenue projections. And when setting revenue projections, you have to consider leveraging on historical data. Why? Because your past performance is one of the most reliable indicators of future revenue. Analyze historical sales trends, customer behavior, seasonal patterns to establish a realistic baseline for your projections. This data-driven approach ensures that your revenue estimates are grounded in actual business dynamics, and thereby it reduces the risk of over-optimism or underestimation. Secondly, incorporate marketing insights for strategic precision. And this ensures that you combine your internal data with external marketing insights to refine your projections. Consider factors such as industry trends, competitor performance, and economic conditions to assess potential opportunities and risks. This holistic perspective will enable you to anticipate shifts in demand and adapt your revenue strategy proactively. And then, as we have discussed before, and this is going to recur again and again and again throughout my presentation, you have to align projections with your business goals. So revenue projections should always reflect your broader strategic objectives, such as entering new markets, launching products, or expanding customer segments. This not only enhances the accuracy of your estimates, but also provides a roadmap for achieving your financial targets. Still on building the customer, the cash flow focus, you have to anticipate expenses. And what's important there? Identify and prioritize your fixed costs, such as rent, salaries, and insurance, because these shall remain constant regardless of what your business activity is. So start by listing these expenses as they form the backbone of your financial obligations. Prioritizing fixed costs ensures your essential operations are funded. And this provides you stability even during periods of revenue fluctuation. The outflows are predictable, and they are the foundation upon which you're going to build a reliable budget. Next, you have to analyze variable costs for flexibility. Variable costs such as raw materials, marketing, and utilities fluctuate with your business activity levels. So anticipating these expenses requires analyzing your historical data and adjusting for projected growth or seasonal changes. Understanding your variable costs will allow you to make agile adjustments, scaling up during busy periods and tightening spending during slow times. And this is going to happen without disruption to your overall operations. And also, you need to plan for contingencies and you need to plan for growth. Effective expense anticipation isn't just about your current needs. It's also about preparing for the unexpected by aligning with growth objectives. Include a buffer for unforeseen costs. And I'm not talking about how people keep on padding their budgets. That's not what I'm talking about. You include a well-reasoned buffer, such as for things like equipment repairs or market shifts, and allocate funds for planned investments like hiring or technology upgrades. This proactive approach ensures that your business remains resilient. It ensures that your business remains adaptable, no matter the circumstances. Still on building your cash flow forecast, we have scenario planning. I think this has been talked about before, so I'm not going to go into it, but I'll just remind you one thing, that scenario planning is about building adaptability into your financial strategy, because you're not a prophet. You're not going to tell exactly what's going to happen in future. Therefore, you have got to build scenarios based on your understanding of the market. Next, we have managing cash flow gaps. And this is important. Cash flow gaps often occur when expenses are due before the revenue is collected. And this then creates a mismatch in timing. So you need to identify causes for cash flow gaps. And it takes a deliberate and intentional effort from management and monitoring throughout, carried out perhaps on a monthly basis. So some of the causes will include late payment or delayed receivables. And this is one of the most common causes of cash flow gaps. Delayed payments from customers, that is. So whether due to extended credit limits, inefficient invoicing, or client cash flow issues, late receivables will disrupt your business's ability to meet its own financial obligations. So addressing this requires clear payment terms, timely follow-ups, and incentives for early payments to maintain a steady cash flow. Also, there are issues with high overhead costs. For instance, high rents, high salaries, utilities. These can quickly diminish your cash reserves, especially during periods of low revenue, when you're experiencing low revenue periods. And so identifying and reviewing these fixed costs allows you to pinpoint inefficiencies and to explore cost-saving opportunities. Negotiating better terms with vendors, downsizing non-essential expenditures, or automating your processes can significantly ease your financial strain. Still on managing your cash flow gaps, we have short-term fixes that the business can use to address the immediate cash flow challenges. And this includes, obviously, negotiating extended payment terms with suppliers. So for instance, you can move this from 30 days to 60-day payment terms that buys you another 30 days. And it gives you time to collect revenue before making payments. And this is a simple strategy that will help you strengthen your liquidity without requiring additional financing. And you can only do this if you maintain the strong supplier relationships through open communication and mutual trust. Another way to institute short-term fixes is to incentivize early customer payments. So for instance, you can offer small discounts for payments made within a shorter time frame. Or if cash is really an issue, you can offer value-added services if they settle their debts promptly. These incentives will accelerate inflows, and it will improve your ability to meet financial obligations without having to resort to borrowing. Now, in cases where renegotiating terms or incentivizing payments is not immediately available, then and only then can you consider short-term financing solutions, for instance, overdrafts or other lines of credit. Now, these are the options you have to bridge your temporary cash flow gaps, and they ensure that your operations continue smoothly while longer-term strategies are being implemented. Still on managing cash flow gaps, because it's an important topic, you need to focus on revenue diversification, and even more importantly, be disciplined with expense management. And once you do this, you'll find that you have set the base for long-term solutions that lay the foundation for managing your cash flow gap. So as you're diversifying your sources, you avoid reliance on single revenue streams, and you can do it by exploring new products. You can do it by introducing new services, or you can do it by getting into customer segments, newer customer segments, to reduce the risk and to increase your cash flow opportunities. Another way is to review and to cut non-essential expenses. And you have to do this by regularly analyzing discretionary spending. We had earlier talked about unused subscriptions. You may have excess inventory. And as you do this, you need to redirect your savings towards your critical needs or your growth initiatives. And also, you have to invest in efficiency. Invest in efficiency by implementing cost-saving measures like automation, and even small things like using energy-efficient technologies, we've got solar now, to achieve longer-term saving. So that was the last point on managing your cash flow gaps. But there's one other thing with regard to cash flows that is often overlooked, and this is about optimizing receivables and optimizing payables. That's where we find our money getting locked in. And if we are not careful, it may end up crippling the organization. So when you sell on credit, you introduce a time lag between the time when you sell and when you get to collect the money. If this process is too long, inevitably, the business is going to suffer from low liquidity. And likewise, when you buy on credit, there's a time lag between when you receive your goods and services and when you pay. And if you pay too early, you affect your cash flow balance negatively, and the converse is also true. So consequently, optimizing your receivables and optimizing your payables becomes an art that must be executed professionally so as not to disgruntle your suppliers by paying them late, and at the same time ensuring that your customers pay when they are supposed to pay. Now, ways in which you can improve collection include setting clear and enforceable payment terms using contracts that may include penalties for late payment. So you must have enforceable contracts. Secondly, you need to follow up consistently and follow up professionally. Don't follow up like some of these organizations where when people borrow money on these lending apps, they harangue you to a level whereby it becomes irritating. No, you have to do it professionally. And also offer incentives for early payment. You can have either discounts, as we said, or you can have value-added benefits, which most people prefer, rather than giving a discount in terms of cash. You give value-added, and this is only for those who consistently comply with the contract that you set forth on this matter. Also, ways in which you can be able to manage payables, because it's not just an issue of the collectibles, it's also on the payables. Ways in which you can manage this will include leveraging supplier relationships to negotiate favorable terms for payments, because there are certain suppliers that you have that don't mind extending you credit for a longer period. Take advantage of that, and that is going to improve your cash flow. Another way is to stagger your payment schedules across different vendors. And this is for better cash flow management, because you are trying to avoid paying out large sums of money at one go. So you want to keep the money longer in your system as opposed to paying it out all at one go. And you can do this by staggering payment schedules across different vendors. Also, monitor and prioritize payments based on the urgency. So for example, key suppliers and services that are critical to your operations, these ones must always be paid first. And if you're having a bit of a cash flow problem, the others, you can pay them a little later, but the key services and those that are really critical to your operations, these have to be paid first. So we move into another segment with regard to cash flow management. And this is about creating a cash reserve. Don't just get all your money and blow it on the next shiny thing. So let's get into it. Why do cash reserves matter? They matter because of emergencies. We all know that emergencies do not book appointments. Emergencies such as a sudden drop in your revenue, or even disruptions in your supply chain, or system failures in IT, perhaps legal costs, all these things can conspire to destabilize your operations. And sometimes it can destabilize in ways that will take your business a very long time to recover. So it's important to have a buffer, because this goes a long way into protecting the company from adverse shocks. Anybody who's been an entrepreneur will tell you that cash is a lifeline of the organization. And the minute you run out of it and an emergency occurs, it becomes a problem for growth. Now, just like emergencies, equally important is opportunities. Sometimes these may arise unexpectedly. They also don't book appointments. So having cash reserves can help your business to act quickly on matters such as expanding into new markets, such as acquiring valuable assets, or investing in a new innovation that gives you what we call the first movers advantage. When you have the cash before everybody else, you gain a competitive edge in the market. As an entrepreneur, the secret weapon to building trust with your shareholders or with your funders lies in resilience. Now, your organization has to demonstrate resilience in order to gain that trust. The more resilient your enterprise, the more trust you are going to build with shareholders, and eventually that is going to generate value for you, because if and when you need the money, they are able then to supply that money because you have shown that you are resilient. So these are therefore the primary reasons why creating cash reserves is not just common business sense. It is key to your enterprise's survival into the long term. And so we need to find out ways of how we have to build these reserves. How do you do it? You build reserves by setting aside a fixed percentage of profits. Like I said, don't just blow everything that comes in. You put this in a reserve account after covering your expenses, and it helps if you can either automate the process or whether you can have a policy with regard to it to ensure consistency, and this also avoids guesswork and misuse if and when you make the profits. So it has to be a deliberate effort. Number two, you need to treat reserves as non-negotiable in the budget items. So when you prioritize reserves the way you prioritize salaries, the way you prioritize rent, you are going to build financial stability over time. A lot of people do not prioritize this, and at a time when there's an emergency, it becomes a little bit of a problem, because money hates a vacuum. The more you have it, the more ideas people are going to get to find out ways on how they can deplete them. So ensuring that this is a non-negotiable item in your budget lines is going to help you build financial stability over time. Next, use windfall profits or savings from cost-cutting measures to boost reserves during high revenue periods. And this is going to help strengthen your ability to handle challenges or to seize opportunities as they present yourselves. I think this is just common sense. So that is how you go about building your reserves. Next, monitoring and adjusting cash flows. As part of proper cash flow management, it is important to have regular cash flow reviews to compare actual performance with forecasts. The idea here is to identify variances early and to address discrepancies before they escalate. And also, and this sometimes is a bit contentious, sharing insights with senior managers goes a long way in fostering collaboration. And it goes a long way in aligning departmental efforts with organizational goals. So do not shy away as the entrepreneur to share these reports with your senior managers, because they are the ones who hold the key to the creativity of ensuring that you have cash flow if and when it is needed. So finally, you have to refine forecasts in line with internal and external business environment, because this enhances your accuracy and it improves planning and decision-making over time. So that's been half an hour of getting into cash flow. And we have come to the end of that particular segment. And as is the case, I shall now hand it over to Lucy to engage you in the quiz as we had done before. So I'm keen to see which group is going to top this time. Over to you, Lucy.
Thank you very much, Peter, for elucidating all things cash flow for us. Some really pertinent points there for us to take home. Now, we have, how many of us? 9 of us. We will still put you into the groups because we would like this to be a group effort. And I think by now we have gotten the drill. I'm going to share the code. Only one of you can enter the code. Give yourselves these names. If you were in room 1 and I'm talking about Jesse and Paul Mete, you are Emerald. So this is the name I hope to see on the screen. Lina, Olympia, and Simeon, you are Pearl. Maureen and Moses, you are Ruby. And someone has dropped off, leaving Christine alone. So I'm going to move Christine to Ruby. Right, so now we have Christine, Maureen, and Moses. You will be Ruby, and we will have 3 people. So nobody join Sapphire, but I could delete it. Yes. So there are going to be 3 teams. We have Emerald, Pearl, and Ruby. We want to see who is going to be the champion of the cash flow quiz. I will now open the breakout rooms and start there until you can see that I have shared the quiz board. All right, see you in a bit. Paul has found himself alone in Emerald. So I'm just going to move him somewhere else.
I see Lucy. Oh, no, not you. I see James is not assigned.
We're down to 2 teams. That is Paul and Ruby. So we only have 8 participants right now. And they're not signing up. What's going on? Now that you can relax, can you go into the breakout rooms, or is it my internet? Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you, but you're breaking a bit.
Oh, so it's my internet then. I'm wondering why they're not signing up. Okay. All right. Brian, do you want to help me by going into the breakout rooms to see if they can see the screen?
Okay.
Thank you. Why would it happen now?
The screen is not visible in the breakout rooms.
It's not visible there. Let me
No.
share it again. Let's do this again. Maybe my internet must have interfered with something. Oh, you know why. Okay. Now they should be able to see it. Let's see if we get the name. Okay. Internet became big Safaricom. Okay, so I see Maureen from Ruby. That's a good sign. I just need one more because we only have 3 breakout rooms.
Oh, yes, it's showing.
It's not showing in Olympia.
It's showing.
Okay, so there we have the path. So I think they're ready. Okay, fantastic. We only have 2 groups, Pal and Ruby. Okay, let's play. Let's play. Ah, lovely. I love it.
Hi, Peter. Hi.
Be able to move to the next topic. I think you'll have time to engage and get some feedback from the audience. For the final question, hello, Sarah.
Here is to implement an accurate event planning system, because that is what is going to work for financial report. We will also differentiate expenditures.
I'll come back.
Just go to
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you.
Everybody back in the room. I have to say congratulations to both teams. You all answered all the questions. So let's find out who did it in rocket speed. Here we go.
wow.
In first place, and we had the other team in the second place. Congratulations to the call. Those answers were coming in fast and furious. And if you're even curious on which questions that Ruby did not get right, we had a few there. And so I hope you can make some corrections to yourselves. Congratulations to both teams. Well done, Paul. That would be my wrap up. I have really enjoyed being part of this team and running the quizzes. And I'd like to pass this back to Peter. So back to you, Peter.
Thank you very much, Lucy. And thank you all of you for participating in today's session. We had a lot prepared for you, but clearly the time has gone faster than we anticipated. We've covered 2 sections of out of a possible 5, and we are going to relay the rest of the information in our second session, which is going to happen a few days from today. So with that, I would like to pass this over to Brian so that he can wrap it up for us. Brian, over to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Peter and Lucy. Also to thank all the participants for making time to be here for the whole session. Really appreciated, and we are hoping that we'll see you in the physical sessions coming next week, and we'll be having it here in Nairobi, and preferably on the 4th. That is on the 4th of February. That day we'll have 2 sessions. Actually, we'll start with the sustainability session in the morning, and then we'll do the financial session in the afternoon. So I'll be sending an email with the details, and also I'll send an email with the feedback form. But for you here, I would like to just share the feedback form. It's a simple feedback form with a lot of multiple questions, 6 questions only. You can fill that out for us, and we'll really appreciate it, just to help us to be able to adjust, or rather to make sure that the session that will be physical will be focusing on the things that you found not only interesting, that you wanted the trainer or rather facilitators to focus more on. So I'm putting the link in the chat box. So just take a few minutes. So here we go to fill in your feedback. So here we go. Let me know if you received it. Can just give me a thumbs up. As we proceed, the other good Maureen. The other thing is also to invite you to tomorrow's session. So tomorrow we have the session on visibility and brand positioning. So we are welcoming you to also take part in that one and the rest that are happening for this week. Other than that, I really wish you a good time. Once you fill out the form, you can feel free to exit the room. So the form provides a place to put additional comments. If you have a question, you can also put in there. I'll make sure that it reaches Peter and he will address it in the next session.
Well, thank you, team. Have a good evening.